A moment of reflection for David Cameron at the memorial to those killed and injured at the Boston bombings. But this visit's been overshadowed by events closer to home. Yesterday, the Prime Minister surprised everyone by saying he wants to pass a law in this Parliament to lock in his promise of a referendum on Europe after the election. So today, when I spoke to him, I said he was panicking under pressure from his own MPs.
I've always said anything we can do to add to the strength and the credibility of the pledge about what we'll do after the election, we should do. So publishing a draft bill is a good step forward.
People are entitled to say this is not about grown-up government policy, it's about a Prime Minister or a party leader trying to keep control of his party.
I think that's completely wrong. What this is about is the British national interest. It is in Britain's national interest to change our relationship with Europe and to improve the European Union. That is in our national interest. It's also in our national interest to give the British public a decisive say on whether to stay in that reformed Europe or to leave it.
But some Conservative MPs are not convinced. Instead, they want to force a vote tomorrow, amending the Queen's speech and keeping up the pressure on their own leader.
The option that the Prime Minister's offered, and that is a private member's bill, is second best because private members' bills can and often fail through lack of time. What I think he should do instead is support the amendment, force Labour and Liberals to make a decision, and if we were to succeed, he would then have a mandate to introduce legislation.
It's not the first time Europe's caused trouble for a Tory leader. John Major spent much of his time as Prime Minister trying to contain rebels within his party. Now the opposition are gleefully saying the same is happening again.
Well, David Cameron's weakness and panic has turned a Europe issue into a leadership issue for the Conservative Party. Yesterday we saw a Prime Minister abroad arguing the case for a European trade deal at the same time as two of his backbenchers as well as two of his cabinet members were saying they wanted to leave the European Union. It's been a shambles over the last couple of days and it doesn't show any signs of improving.
There's no doubt the success of UKIP is pushing worried Conservatives to say they must take a stronger stand on Europe. Today, UKIP's leader was dismissive of the latest move.
I don't want to wait 4.5 years to have a referendum on this great question after a renegotiation and if Mr Cameron wins the election. And I think most people this week watching this saga unfolding, they see a split Conservative Party, they all see all sorts of motions and counter-motions.
David Cameron once said he didn't want his party to be banging on about Europe. Right now, he doesn't seem to have much choice.